Hi, everyone. We're so excited to have you joining us today for our webinar. And we've got an exciting story to share with you, how you can become a nurse here in the United States. And my name is Joan Ziegler. I'm your enrollment advisor. And we'd like to have a little participation here while we're all introducing our panel here of hosts. In the chat down below, if you would list your name, what country you're from, and if you're studying here in the US, if you could tell us where you're studying. We'd love to learn who's here. So also, if you could tell us, how did you hear about us? Was it Facebook, Instagram, just social media, a friend? So we need a brave soul to start to list your name and tell us a little bit where you're from. So if you could go in the chat. The other thing I want to mention is if you have questions throughout the webinar, please list them in the chat, and then we're going to answer those throughout the webinar, and also at the end we'll have a Q&A session. So again, if you could please list your name and where you're located, where you're from, and how you heard about us in the chat, we'd really appreciate it. So again, my name's Joan Ziegler, and I'm your enrollment advisor. I'm in Florida, and I'll introduce Hector next, and then Hector, I'll have you introduce Irene and so forth through our panel here.
Thank you so much, Joan. My name is Hector. I'm based in West Palm Beach, Florida. I was an international student once, so I'm excited to have you here. I'll be helping you through your journey as well, and hopefully we'll meet here in the US. And now I pass the word to Irene. Welcome, Irene.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Irene. I'm currently in Rochester at the University of Rochester, and which I, got to know about through inSpring, and I was fortunate to have them walk me through. So I heard about, well, I came across inSpring on Instagram, so that's how I knew about inSpring. And thank you.
And Irene, where are you from originally?
Oh, Nigeria. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So Irene started with us, I think it was in July last year, and you studied accounting, right? You have a bachelor's in accounting?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so tell us how you came to nursing from accounting.
So when I started out in nursing and accounting, sorry, I was really young. It's like I I knew I wanted to, go into accounting at first, but then I feel like I made the decision really early, and along the line, I realized I wanted to do something different, something that, had to do with being able to help people. Because people describe me as, someone who's like, I have a lot of empathy. I'm always, looking out for others. And so, but at that point, it's really hard in a place where I'm from to kind of switch from like one field that's totally different to like another. So I went through with accounting, and then when I came here to the US, I saw an opportunity. It's like I would say it's easier than where I'm from to kind of, if you didn't want to do something, you can always like backtrack. So that's yeah, so I jumped on the opportunity, and then it was kind of hard to do it on my own. So I wasn't sure, where to or how to really go about it. And then that's when I came across inSpring, and I think from there it just became easier.
Wonderful. Fantastic. So you're here on an F1. You came on an F1 to study
Yes.
accounting, and then you switched to nursing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. And how about you, Deva? Tell us about you and what your role is here.
Yeah, thanks, Joan, and glad to have Irene here to witness the journey. And myself, Deva, I'm actually from India. I've joined from India, but I've associated with inSpring over 2 years now. And I, Joan, and Hector together, like we are few more people in the team, but from on the front side, we address you all to screen you guys and prep you and to let you know how the whole process works. So, and you will see me also in your prerequisites portion when you are enrolled with certain universities. So I'm glad being a part of this journey of yours and to enlighten your nursing career in United States.
Fantastic. Thank you. I should mention Hector is our marketing guru. So when you mentioned that you heard about us from Facebook or other social media, Hector's the one that got you to know who inSpring is. So we're really grateful for him. And he's also running the show here behind the scenes for the webinar. So we're really excited. If you want to become a nurse, we've got a pathway for you to become a nurse. This could be you working as a nurse in a US hospital here, probably in early 27. It's not going to be long before you can become a nurse. So we've got a great program for you. Hector, if you could go to the next slide. Our program is really two-part. So we start with our Nursing Launchpad program, and that includes you completing a 1-year accelerated BSN program. Just 1 year, you can get a BSN here in the United States. After you complete that program, you do need to sit for the NCLEX. That's the licensing exam. And after you have your NCLEX, we're going to place you in a job in a US hospital. And just so you know, we are not an agency. I know that many of you come from countries where nurses come here and they go through an agency. inSpring, we are not an agency. So agencies, the way they typically work is you're an employee of the agency, and then you have to pay them a part of your paycheck every week for several years. And if you break that contract, you have to pay money back to them. At inSpring, we don't charge you for job placement. So the hospital actually pays us. So it's just a whole different model. So it's really to your benefit to work with us. So we're really excited and want to share more with you about how you can be in this pathway. Hector, the next slide. So we have many people on our team. These are just a few team members. You see Hector and me here, but we have many people working behind the scenes. So we all come from a background of working with students in different roles and with international candidates. And inSpring was really developed to help bring education and then a career opportunity for candidates, especially in the field of healthcare. There is such a need, you'll see that in a few slides here, for healthcare professionals, nurses in particular here in the US. And we saw a great opportunity for job placement. So that's what we're all about here, is helping with you to find your home, to find you to become a nurse here in the United States. So why are we at inSpring focused on international candidates? Well, if you look on the left-hand side, you see some numbers on a chart. And this is where the healthcare industry has many opportunities. So you see RN 195K 86,000, and then you see NP 26,121K. What does all that mean? Well, the RN refers to nurses, and so right now there's almost 195,000 open jobs for nurses, and the median salary is $86,000 a year. Incredible amount of income you can make. Many of you have lived here already. You're on an F1. You know what the cost of living is here, and you know what a good salary is. That's a great salary. Then later, after you become a nurse, maybe you want to go back to school and become a nurse practitioner. That's what NP stands for. There's 26,000 open jobs, and they pay at least $121,000. So you can see what a great demand there is here for healthcare professionals. On the right-hand side, you see a chart that shows all of the United States, and you see it says domestic demographic cliff. What does that mean? That means that we don't have as many young people in our population today, and we don't have as many going to universities. So those states that you see in red and pink and light pink, and even some of the light blue states, most of the states are seeing a decline in enrollment in universities here in the US, and that's going to continue for many years. So as we have the demand for healthcare workers growing and the number of students going to universities declining, what a great opportunity for international candidates like you to fill these jobs, these great paying jobs and these great paying roles. So that's why we have excitement here to work with you as an international candidate. So I mentioned to you just a little more detail here about jobs and salaries specific for nurses. The median salary for a nurse here in the United States is $86,000 a year. That is a great salary. There's 3.3 million nursing jobs here. The growth rate is 6% a year, and the job openings right now are 194,500. So almost 195,000 open jobs right now. So there's a very, very good chance after you graduate with this 1-year BSN, you're going to get a job. And that's what we're here for, is to help place you into a job. These are statistics from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So this is really, really exciting. Hector, I'm going to throw it to you here as a question. So you came here as an F1 student and you studied, I think, business, right? I'm just curious to know, when you look at a salary like 86,000 for, your career as a median, you don't necessarily start at that, but, as a median salary throughout your years of 20, 30, 40 years working, how does that compare to somebody coming out of a, business degree or some other degree from your
Great
viewpoint?
point, Joan. So there is a lot of competition and there are not as many jobs as in nursing. So even if you graduate with a bachelor's in business, you might spend at least a year with partial pay or no pay doing an internship, or you might start with a salary of $40,000 to $50,000, and it will take you at least 5 years. If you're lucky, you might get there earlier, but it's not easy to reach over 70,000 within the first 5 to 7 years of work. So this is a solid pay, and there is a need for the career. It's a career path that you have more mobility with, whereas with business you might need to focus on major cities or start in a very small town with $30,000 salary. So this talks to an audience that wants to also have opportunities in different states. So I think this is a great salary. Yeah.
Good. Well, the next slide shows you what you'd be starting at in terms of, oh, I'm sorry. Before we get there, we're going to talk about here why you want to become a nurse. So Irene, I'm going to ask you kind of off the cuff here. Nursing is a trusted profession, and you were in accounting. You mentioned a little bit about this, but I'm just curious to know, as you've been in class, you meet other people who are studying nursing, you're in class with healthcare professionals, probably a lot of nurses are teaching you. What do you think the benefits of being in a nursing program are to be a nurse? What do you feel like are the top 3 reasons to become a nurse? Oh, you're on mute. You gotta, yeah. Okay.
Gotcha. So I would say the top 3 reasons for me, I would say it's very fulfilling in every aspect because you're like at the forefront. We started clinical like a couple weeks back, and before I went to clinical, I had no idea what to expect. But when I got in, it just kind of reminded me of why I wanted to do this in the first place. So I would say it's very rewarding. And there's like, I think I would say there's the job security aspect because there's a need for nurses, so it's like, yeah, it's the job security. And then I would say another reason, I think you said being in a program like this, right? Another benefit is, the structure. It really trains you to be like, the best you can be. So yeah, it just you learn a lot, and then you're able to apply, be hands-on, and then you just go out there and, bring out the best version of yourself for other people and for yourself too.
Mhm. Irene, I didn't share this with you, but when I ask people who are interested in nursing, and maybe they've already been a nurse in their country, and they're deciding that they may want to do a nursing program here, and I ask them, what is the number one reason why you like nursing? And the answer I get, like most of the time, is their favorite day is when the patient goes home, when they see that patient leaving the
Oh my
hospital.
God. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, that's very, you cannot underestimate that. It's like, because we're assigned different patients each week. So when I go back and then the patient I had before has been discharged, I am so happy. I'm like, yes. I hope you never have to come back.
Yeah, you did your
Yeah.
job well, right? You see
Yeah,
them that they're sick or they're having an operation, they're not
Mhm.
feeling well, but then they have a smile on their face, they're getting dressed and they're leaving the hospital, right?
Yeah, it's a very good feeling. It
Yeah.
actually is. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get to have that to look forward to for however many more years you're going to become a nurse. It's
Yeah.
really great. And this is the common answer I get from people
Yeah,
who've been a nurse 15, 20 or more years. That's what they tell
yeah,
me. So,
I probably
yeah.
forgot to mention that. It's funny because I just talked to someone about it. Like you just feel so happy seeing them go. And
Mhm.
it's like hopefully they don't have to come back. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Awesome. Oh, Hector, what happened to our slide here? Okay.
There you go.
So we talked about, more of a internal reward here to be a nurse. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work, but some people really feel called to become a nurse. And if you are, the secondary benefit is a great salary. And you mentioned that as well, Irene. You know that you're going to have a job. You know that you're going to make a lot of money. As I mentioned, there is a high demand for nurses, almost 195,000 jobs open. Unemployment is very low. We see a lot of turnover in our US hospitals. Nurses will work there for maybe 6 months and then they'll go find another job. It's really tough to keep nurses employed in hospitals. And it's a really quick pathway here with our program. It's only 12 months. So, Irene, you started in May. She's completed her first semester. She's in her second semester. So she's already going to be done next year by, I guess, May, right? May of 26. Yeah, it's going to be here before you know it. And after you graduate, you'll get work authorization. We'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. And you can apply for a green card through this program. So we'll talk about that as well. So these are all reasons to become a nurse here in the United States. The next slide goes into salary. So we have programs, we have accelerated BSN programs in 3 cities and states: Cleveland, Ohio, Rochester, New York, and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Now, Irene is in the middle one, the Rochester, New York program. They're accepting applications for summer next year. They've already closed their applications for spring. Cleveland is not accepting applications until January, spring of 27. So we're not going to focus on that one today. And Oklahoma City is accepting applications now for spring. So that's our quickest route to get started. But I wanted to share with you here starting salary. So in these 3 cities and states, this is what you can expect to be making after you graduate. This is what our nurses are making, is around $70,000 a year. Now, that's just your base salary. Nurses, because there's such a shortage, can work extra hours. You can earn overtime, and you can make more than this amount of money per year, because you're working extra hours. So if you're willing to work extra shifts, it can be even more. The next slide, though, shows you, and this is probably my favorite slide, is showing you after you've been a nurse for 3 or 4 years, you're considered an experienced nurse. This is what the salaries are. So they're well above 86,000 in these cities and states. So again, if you're going to be a nurse another at least 20 years, most of your career, this is what you could expect in terms of a salary, just a base salary. So pretty good pay. That's why we're excited about this program for you. Next slide, Hector, if you would. So what we do here, and this is the journey that Irene's on with us at inSpring, is we help you initially with screening and assessment. This is where Deva comes in. And when you apply to our program, she'll be contacting you, getting a little bit of information, and then we'll be talking and we'll work together on your application. We'll work together then to prepare you to be able to do our program. Now this says transition to the US. Many of you are already here. So for you, this would be transitioning to a different university than where you're at right now. We'll make sure you complete your degree, and you do have to get licensed, and then we help you with employment. So this is our program that we commit to you, working with you. It's not just a nursing program. You're going to also get employment after you graduate. So this gives you a little more detail of how it's going to look. The middle column here is that you're on an F1 student visa. Many of you are on a student visa now. Again, we'll help you get that transition, your CVIS, to another university. You complete the 1-year program and you take the NCLEX, NCLEX. That's the licensing exam that you need to pass to be able to work in a US hospital. Once you graduate, once you get your NCLEX, then you'll be using your OPT. And that is going to be for 1 year on your student visa. Now, I know some of you are in a master's program. Some of you maybe already graduated from a master's program and you are using OPT. We will have you talk with one of our immigration specialists. We have done some research and found that if you're using OPT for a master's degree, you can use it for a bachelor's degree. There's been some things online that say differently, but we have an immigration specialist that will meet with you and talk with you about that. So if you use OPT on a bachelor's degree already, then that's a different issue. But if you use OPT for a master's degree, you would be able to use it for a bachelor's degree. So after you use your OPT, you're going to be on an H-1B work visa, and that will be, you'll be sponsored by our hospital. After you get your H-1B, you can apply for a green card. Now that's going to vary for each person. Each person it's going to vary depending on your country of birth, but you can apply for a green card. So that's our pathway that you're going to be on with us. Next slide, Hector. So this just shows you that there are long wait times for different countries. And the next slide, if we can go there, Hector, shows you that our program does not have a cap for the number of nurses that are being sponsored. So in other words, you're not going to have to be in a lottery. This is a really important point. You don't have to be in a lottery for working in our hospitals. So our hospitals can hire as many international nurses as they want. Why is that? Because they're institutions of higher education and they're nonprofit hospitals. So that's really good for you. Currently, we have another program, and this is for nurses who are outside of the US, who already have a BSN and already have an NCLEX, and we're bringing them directly here to get an H-1B work visa. This is different than the program I'm talking about, but what I want to say is that we have already gotten over 100 international nurses brought to our hospitals, and they're working there right now. We have a really good partnership with our hospital partners. They're really happy with our international nurses, and they're sponsoring all of these international nurses. So that will be a great pathway for you, because We already have international nurses that are working at our hospital partners. The right-hand side chart shows you the cost for an H-1B work visa. It's almost $5,000, and the hospital is paying that, not you. So they're making a huge investment in every one of these nurses that we bring in, and they'll make an investment in you as well when it comes time for you to get an H-1B work visa. So pretty exciting. So what are the benefits of our program? Well, it depends which program you attend, because Oklahoma is going to be significantly less expensive than Rochester. You may or may not get a scholarship, so it can vary, but the cost of the program is between $52,000 and $113,000. There are loan options available. The program lasts for 12 months. I mentioned Cleveland real briefly, but that's a 16-month program. For Oklahoma and for Rochester, it's only 12 months that you'd be going to the program. Starting salaries we've talked about at $70,000 with a median salary of $86,000. And long-term, you're eligible for OPT, for an H-1B work visa, and then for an EB-3. So this is your return on investment. It's going to cost you to go to school, but what a great investment you're making in your future. So what we require in this program to be eligible is you do need to have a bachelor's degree. Now, we talked about Irene. You have a bachelor's degree in accounting from Nigeria. It can be in any field. I talk to people who have bachelor's degrees in engineering, in education, social work, business, just a variety of backgrounds, and they're interested in becoming a nurse. That's all that you need. We do look for a GPA of a 3.0. This is an intensive program. You can attest to that, Irene. So they're looking for great candidates, people who have really good GPAs to be in this program. For some countries, IELTS is needed. That'll be something that we'll talk about. But for most countries, we don't need to worry about that. There's really 3 ways to get a bachelor's degree in nursing here in the US. We're featuring the 1-year program, the 1-year ABSN program. So the next slide shows you what you might expect in an ABSN program. This is actually for Oklahoma. It's a 3-semester program. And so you would be starting at Oklahoma in spring. So you'd go straight through spring, summer, and fall. And if you start in spring, you'd be done by December of 26. Then you take your NCLEX and you would be able to work in early 27. If you start at Rochester in the summer, then you'd go summer, fall, and spring, like Irene, she started this past summer, and you'll be done by May of 27. So that's your pathway. Irene, I'm going to ask you to pipe up here a little bit. This is the Oklahoma study plan. Yours is going to be a little bit different, but could you say a little bit about your first semester, what it was like, and how many hours you put in, what somebody could expect in this program? There's really no time to work. You're busy all the time. So if you could share more about your experience at Rochester, really great.
Yeah, so it's a very rigorous program. It's fast-paced, and I think in the first semester we did about 4 to 5 classes, although we started out with about 2 classes, and then the third one opened up, and then the fourth one opened up. And then when we were done with these 4, towards the last 5 weeks, we took one more class, and that's when we started our clinical. So it's a fast-paced program, and it requires quite a lot of work, but it's doable. It's 100% doable and manageable, but very fast-paced. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How many hours would you say you're putting in? Is 40 hours a week, 50 hours? What would you say?
I think I put in full time 40 hours.
Yeah.
Especially when you're like new to you're new to this field. It's like I think for the first couple weeks, it's like trying to figure out your studying style, because everything just switches up. It's like you're getting it's a whole different, field. So it's like figuring out your study style, what works for you, how to manage things. So that takes some time. And then once you have a good grasp of that, then it kind of, I think it gets better. And yeah.
Yeah, and that's why they want to have students that have such good GPAs that show that they've been a good student, because it is very rigorous. So the next slide shows you the first program that we're featuring, and that's at Oklahoma City University. Oklahoma City is ranked by US News and World Report, and they are accredited in nursing, the ACEN accreditation. Their nursing program is in the top 15% of nursing schools. They have 7 fully simulated hospital rooms, and the students do experience an above average NCLEX passing rate. And so this is really a great program. We have several people who've been accepted here. We have currently 3 students here now, but we'll hopefully have more in the spring. So you still have time to apply for spring starting in January if you want to attend Oklahoma City. They do require a GPA of a 3.0. Now, the 3.0 can include your prereqs. We'll go over prereqs here in a couple of slides, but that can include your prereqs. So let's go to the next slide, Hector. And you can see that they give you a scholarship depending on your GPA. So let's go to the far right column here. And if you go down to the 4th row, you see that there's a scholarship amount of $9,750. So what this means is if your GPA is between a 3.0 and a 3.29, you would be getting a scholarship of $9,750. So your cost for tuition and fees is $31,060 to go to school here. That's just your tuition and your fees. And then the next slide shows you what it would cost for living expenses. Now, many of you are already here. You've been here for a year or more. You know what it costs to go to live here and to go to school. Living expenses we show here as 20 to 25,000, but I've talked to other people and they say it's considerably less wherever they're at. Some people tell me it's more. So Oklahoma is pretty moderately priced, but generally we say 20 to 25,000. So if we go back to the previous slide, Hector, and we add 20,000 to that far right column, that would be a total you're needing of $51,060 to do the 1-year program at Oklahoma with your living expenses. And power loans are available. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Hector, if you could go now to 2 more slides, the next one, and this is our prereqs. So prereqs are required for both of our programs. And all of these courses you need to take before you can start in the program. We have these courses available for you to take through Portage University. It's an online university. It's not Oklahoma, it's a separate university. If you want to take courses through Portage, the cost of these courses is listed here on the right-hand side. So we would work with you. This is something Dava would do. She would work with you to help you plan out your prereqs. These do not have to be done before you apply. They just have to be done before you can start at Oklahoma. If you get going now and you need these prereqs, you get your application in, we're in September, you would be able, we can have you get these done before January so that you can start the program, but you really would have to be working on them now. Another option is to take them at a community college. Irene, that's what you did, right? Can you share a little bit about your experience, what you did at a community college?
I started out with some of these classes. I took them at a community college. I think it was kind of it was easier for me to stay on the F1. That's why I went through that route. It has to be a college that is recognized though by the USCIS. So yeah, and I took the classes that I needed to
Right.
get in. Yeah.
How long were you taking prereqs at a community college before you started at URMC? Was it a couple semesters? How long
Yeah,
did
it's
it take
about
you?
3 semesters. I
3
took one.
semesters.
Yeah, I
Okay.
took one class over the first half of the summer. It would have been less. It's just that when I started out, I really had no idea. I took classes I did not really need. So
Yeah.
in the second semester, I was like, okay, I probably need to focus more on the classes I actually need. So
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I find when people take community college classes, they're requiring you to take extra classes before you can take some of the prereqs.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if you want to go with Portage, you can just take these classes. Now, if you are on an F1, it's really, really important you talk with your DSO. Most of them say yes, that you can take online courses on top of the courses you're already taking at your university, but you just want to check. You don't want to do that without checking and asking them first. This is the easiest way to get these prereqs done though, because all of these courses are self-paced. So it's around your schedule, how long it takes you to get these courses done. So these are the prereqs for Oklahoma. We're going to move on next. We're going to go past Cleveland. It is a university partner, but they're not accepting applications until spring of 27. So that's kind of a long ways off. So Hector, we'll just skip through the CSU slides and we'll go directly to University of Rochester. And this is the university that Irene is at, that she selected. She was actually accepted at both schools, at Oklahoma and at University of Rochester. Rochester is our premier university. You can see here they're listed in the top 50 of all universities in the United States. They're ranked number 44 here in the United States. So they are really one of the best universities across the United States. They're in the top 1% of universities. So for Irene to get accepted there and any of our other students, it's really a big deal. We had students that had GPAs of 3.0 and did not get in. So it's a big deal to get accepted here. Their nursing accreditation is CCNE. That's the top nursing accreditation. And their hospital, Strong Hospital, is a magnet hospital. So magnet hospitals are in the top 10% of all hospitals here in the United States. In fact, I believe Strong was voted as the top hospital in New York recently. So this is really a premier hospital and a premier university. With that, it's also very expensive. So our next slide shows you the cost for URMC. I'm sorry, it's for summer, we're accepting applications. Here's the cost. Now, you might get a scholarship. You might be lucky to get a scholarship. Before scholarship, their tuition and fees is $93,288. Living expenses are $28,260. So if you do not get a scholarship, it's going to be $121,548. They do give scholarships of up to $50,000. If you were lucky to get a $50,000 scholarship, your cost would be $71,548. Irene, you were one of the lucky ones that got a scholarship. So what made you decide that you wanted to go to URMC after you got that scholarship?
I think they were starting earlier, and then it's closer to, where I was, Massachusetts. So it's kind of, for me, it was closer to home, I would say, because my family were concerned about me going all the way over to Oklahoma, and then it's like you don't know anyone there. But
Right.
yeah, so and yeah, it's also like it's a really great school. So it's it one of the, one reason I also looked at was it's a really great school too. It because it's they have like a hospital. They have hospitals. I wouldn't say a hospital. They have hospitals. So yeah.
You mentioned that you are doing clinicals. Are you working at Strong Hospital then with your clinicals? Are you going to the different hospitals? Tell us more about that, working with the hospitals.
So they rotate. I was
Okay.
at Strong last semester for med
Mhm.
surg. but now we're doing OB, women's health. So I'll be at Highland, and then for pediatrics, I'm going to be at Strong again.
How many hospitals do they have that you'll be rotating through?
I think about 3.
3 hospitals. Great.
Yeah,
Yeah, wonderful.
yeah.
Have you met any of the other international nurses through inSpring? Have you know, if you've seen any of them?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure yet? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll have to get you introduced to some of those ladies. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, good. So the next slide shows you the prereqs for URMC. Some of them are the same as the ones I showed you for Oklahoma. Anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, microbiology and chemistry are all prereqs required for both schools. So if you were wanting to start with prereqs before you get a decision, you certainly can. We would recommend that you do. And those would be the classes we'd start with for you to take. What's different here from Oklahoma is developmental psychology. Oklahoma requires intro to psychology, and statistics. Oklahoma requires college algebra. So, but again, I just want to emphasize you can get accepted and apply before you have all these prereqs done. Okay, you just have to have the prereqs done when you start. The next slide shows you about funding. So many people want to know, well, how can I pay for this program? Well, Empower loans are available for both universities, Oklahoma and Rochester. I do want to point out a loan is a loan. So you're going to need to pay money back after you graduate, but it's worth it. This is a great way to fund your education. The next slide shows you that if you borrow $20,000 from Empower, while you're in school, you do have to start making interest payments. Some of you may be already working with Empower, but this might be new for some people. If you do borrow money from Empower while you're in school and you borrow, say, $20,000, you have to pay $258 for interest only per month while you're in school. After you graduate, they give you 10 years to pay your loan back. So it's $335 for principal and interest over 10 years. If you borrow $40,000, it's $516 per month for interest only, and then $671 for principal and interest, and that's over a 10-year period. So it's a great way to fund your education. Some of our applicants at URMC have gotten loans as much as $63,000. So they're very generous. We have a great partnership with inSpring and Empower. So we'll work with you when it comes to you getting a loan. Irene, do you have any comments about working with Empower? What your experience was? I know you got a loan with them, if you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience.
Yeah, it's been a smooth experience so far. They're very responsive, which I like. If you call them, they respond. I also want to say something about the cost. Sometimes you provided an estimate, but it's very possible to spend way under that, depending on where you get your accommodation, how you manage money. Because I've been able to spend, way less than I expected, which is great. So yeah, that's what I'd like to say.
What would you say did you have an idea of your living expenses for the year at Rochester? What they might be with housing, meals, vehicle? I know that
With,
really varies, but what would you say you've been
with
spending?
with housing, I would say in Rochester, it's pretty it's really not that bad here. Uh, I would have to. I cannot really give off the bat. I would have to like check to give an estimate, but I can do that real quick.
Okay. Do you have roommates? Are you in an apartment?
I have roommates. That's another thing. If you if you're okay with living with people, it actually saves a lot of
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
plus it's, you have some friends too. It's not all by yourself when you have
and
roommates.
yeah, true. For the year, I don't spend more than 7K on rent for the year.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
sharing that rent.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sharing it, so it's significantly cheaper.
Good, good, awesome. Fantastic. Well, the next slide then shows that what you would do if you want to work with us. So what we do in our program is we help you get admitted into one or both of these programs. We do ask you to pay us a $300 refundable deposit. And from that, we're going to get your transcripts evaluated. So if you've already had your transcripts evaluated, that's great. But we will also get your transcripts evaluated if you haven't never had them evaluated. Also, if you decide to apply to one or both schools, you're not going to have to pay any application fees. Those are waived for both universities. So it's just a one-time $300 deposit to commit to working with us. Then I'll work together with you to apply. If you decide to apply to Oklahoma, I'll be filling out your application. If you decide to apply to URMC, you'll be filling it out. So we'll go over that. We'll make sure you get your prereqs done, whether it's a community college or it's online with Portage. And after you pass the NCLEX, we'll help you with employment. The next slide talks about why work with inSpring. Why would you consider working with us? And I'll start out and just say that we offer you personalized service starting from the beginning. As I mentioned, Irene, you and I had been working together since last year in July. And actually in May, when Irene got to campus, she spoke to a group of people with the Chamber of Commerce. And I got to see a video of her. She did an amazing job. But I was like, Irene, we've worked together for over a year now. It's unbelievable when you first did that. So could you share a little bit about why you decided to work with inSpring?
I would say it's I think the communication was great for me. I think I talked to you the most, I think, Joanne. But it's like, I would say the most important thing was the communication. It was very fast. I think everything just happened really fast, and then they're responsive, they're efficient, and I think they also don't like require, like you said, getting into a contract or something. So that was also a bonus. So yeah. And I think, yeah, in Spain, it was overall just, great communication, kind of like a great middle ground between me and like the schools, I would
We're
say.
still working with you. We still keep in touch and we're going to help you find a job after you graduate.
Yeah,
That's the best part.
that too, following
Yeah.
up, even though like, through the program, it's been really tough, but I still keep getting emails, from Joanna. Like, I feel so terrible. It's very hard to keep track, but
Well, we want to know,
it
we
keeps
want you to
reaching
know we
out.
care and we're still following up with you. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
so you will get personalized service with us. Dava will be in touch with you talking about prereqs. We have immigration specialists, so it won't just be me, it'll be other people on our team communicating with you as well. And we really try to communicate as best as we can. We give you access to your prereqs and follow up so that we make sure you get those done in time. We will talk with you about switching your SEVIS to a different university. We will help you transition to your university, and once you complete the program, we'll help you with the NCLEX and get a job after the NCLEX. So this is our final slide, and it talks about what the steps are that you're going to be working with us on when you apply. So it starts out with you paying a $300 refundable deposit. Once you make your payment, then we'll work together and we'll get your application in to one or both universities. The 300 is for whether you want to apply to one or two universities, still just one payment. Just so you know, decisions take a very long time for these universities. You can attest to that, right, Irene? It was a very long wait. After we worked together, you're sitting there for weeks and weeks. Am I ever going to get in? Am I ever going to hear anything? I can tell you Oklahoma, they haven't even started reviewing spring applications yet. We just had a meeting with them yesterday. In a couple weeks, they're going to start reviewing spring applications, but it's going to take 8 to 12 weeks to get a decision from Oklahoma. So you probably won't hear anything until November if you apply now. I can tell you that URMC applying for summer, they will not be making any decisions until late December. So you can expect to wait a very long time for a decision from URMC. So it's really a good idea to start with your prereqs after you get your application in. So you've got a plan going forward. Then after you get a decision, you can apply for an Empower loan, and we'll work together with you. We have a great contact there. We'll make sure all your prereqs are done. We will help you get acceptance and get your I-20, and then help you get enrolled. And after you pass the NCLEX, then we'll help you get a job. So that's our steps. So we really hope that you're excited about joining us. We're so happy that Irene was here today to join us. And Hector, I'm going to throw it over to you. I think we had a lot of questions in the chat. I think you've been kind of monitoring those. So if you would go through some of the highlights with the questions and help us wrap things up here.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Yes, this has been very helpful for every attendee. I believe we have tackled every question. To go over a couple of those, we do work with OPT. Also, if you're considering transitioning from one career to nursing, as long as you have your bachelor's, that's completely fine. The only difference is that if you didn't complete a bachelor's with a specific background in science, you may need to take more prerequisites, but other than that, you're welcome to apply, and that will be the main difference. We don't recommend, as you heard Irene, this is a program that it requires a lot of your time, effort. You need to also take some rest and network and take advantage of the labs and through the program. So we don't recommend any external job or any specific hobby that could take a lot of your time during those 12 to 14 months, because this is a very important aspect of the program, that you take the time to immerse yourself and tackle the program how it should be. And it requires a lot of effort again. So those are the questions that we had. Besides these questions, we also had a couple of NCLEX attendees interested in learning more about the NCLEX. We invite you to share your information, but if you already completed an ABSN and you have plans to take the NCLEX, we're recruiting for job openings with our partners right now. So I also share the link in the chat. Feel free to apply. But the main audience today are those without the NCLEX. So for that, I'm going to share again the link for you to please complete the form, and we will help you with your ABSN application. This is a journey that it takes time and effort, but we have the team that you need to go through all the stages, okay? So don't rush it. Start with the application. We'll get back to you, and we'll make sure that you have everything you need. Also, Deva, I think she replied to a couple of questions. If you want to add anything, Deva.
Yeah, just to reiterate, there's a two different team working. One is ABSN and another one is RN, but we are interlinked only with the NCLEX holder and non-NCLEX holder. So if someone is about to write an NCLEX, I did see a latest question by Peter. If you're planning to take an NCLEX exam, but you're yet to, and you are already having a BSN degree, please get your NCLEX exam through. Like, you need to have an NCLEX so that our RN recruitment team will help you place you to our hospital partners. Like, we have a couple of hospital partners where we are placing a number of nurses with them. So do apply using the RN link. Do save the link with yourself so that once you get the NCLEX done, you can apply and get your job through them. And if you are someone who is finding tough to get the NCLEX in one shot, because it is like twice a year you can do that, right? So if you're going to wait for a longer period, rather you can take our ABSN program, understand the US-based nursing program and all the do's and don'ts, and study properly, and then get an NCLEX done. As Hector said, this is a journey. So if you're really passionate about becoming a nurse, and if you're having a bachelor's in nursing in your home country or somewhere 10 years back or so, you can brush up your skills, and then you can be on a student visa and then continue to get your NCLEX done and then get into a job. So right from ABSN till getting a job, we have our team who will be supporting you all right from the screening till placing you to hospital, onboarding, and all the there is an immigration team. There are 3 people who will support you. So we don't take any hidden charges. To start with us, it is going to be the $300 deposit, and then which is refundable as well. I mean, refundable on your admissions. So you can, we are not like other consultancy services. So you can trust us and just apply and talk to us and understand where you are right now, so that we can help you with the immigration team, and then we can take it further if required to talk with them.
Hector, how do
I
they
think
apply
I've
to our
covered.
program? Do you have the link in the chat for us? Did you put that in there already?
Yes, I have shared the link
Okay.
several times throughout the webinar. Correct.
Okay, good. Great, great. So there's 2 different links. So if you are interested in the program we've been talking about, the accelerated BSN program, there's 1 link. If you already have a BSN and an NCLEX, we have another link for you to fill out. I have a question here. I saw if you have an associate's in an NCLEX, unfortunately, we can't work with you. You do need to have a BSN and an NCLEX. So we would recommend that you consider an RN to BSN program. If you have an NCLEX, you cannot do the ABSN program at our university. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to ask Irene, any final thoughts as far as this audience? We've got several people who are F1 holders. They're kind of on the fence, thinking about maybe becoming a nurse. What advice would you give them? What words of wisdom would you give them for thinking about if they should move forward and pursue a nursing career?
Yeah, I would say just do it. It's very simple. Yeah, it's really worth it. I feel like I kind of started out like I almost did not do it. Like it was, it's like feeling so overwhelmed, kind of having this moments of self-doubt and like seeing, wondering, oh, am I able to cross all of these hurdles? But once I started, everything else just kind of, fell in line. And it's like, oh, okay, I was stressing out too much, I guess. So, yeah, just do it. And I would say it's totally doable. That's one thing I would say. It seems overwhelming, but it's like it's very manageable, and in the end, it's very rewarding and fulfilling if you stick through with it, of course.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
I have to say, Irene was kind enough to join us today. She just got out of a lab a few minutes before she started the webinar. What time did your lab start this morning?
Started at 7 a.m.
7 o'clock, 7 a.m. Eastern time. She was getting out of the lab to join us today. So we're so happy that you joined us. We really appreciate it. You gave us some wonderful tips and words of wisdom. And it sounds like just do it, right? Just go for it. If you think you want to be a nurse, give it a try, right?
I highly encourage that. And if anyone, ever came to me and they said they were doubting, I would say do not doubt. Just I was there once. I go through with it. It takes a lot of courage, and I believe that everyone, has it in them. So if you really want to do it, and then if you're really passionate about it, and if it's something you really want, and go through with it, you wouldn't regret it. I mean, you would regret not doing it, but you wouldn't regret ever doing it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have a job too at the end. That's one thing. I talk to a lot of people who are in programs now, and they might even be on OPT, but they're worried about, well, what am I going to do, once I complete this program from a work standpoint? You're going to have a job after you graduate. as a nurse, because there's just so much opportunity out there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Irene. We are so, so grateful to you talking with
Of
us
course.
today. Deva, any final words? And then Hector, any final words of wisdom or thoughts before we leave?
Just as Irene said, just do it. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Irene, for being with us. This has been amazing. To all the attendees, we'll be sharing the recording and the presentation as well. And you will have all your information, all the information handy, okay? So thank you so much for joining. Back to you, John.
Yes, thank you. And we'll be sending the recording and the slides to you today as well. So please share this with anybody you know. We'd love to work with you. Look forward to hearing from all of you. Again, Irene, thank you. Thank you so much. We're so thankful for you to be here with us today and give us the real world of what it's like to be a nursing student in the Rochester ABSN program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.